Welcome FPL managers, I'm your FPL plug and today we're going to be talking about the Game Week 4 transfer targets and also giving you a good Game Week 4 overall wildcard. But firstly, let's take a look at how Game Week 3 went for us, and honestly it was actually a really good week. So obviously last week we were around 750,000th in the world, and this week after a 350,000 green arrow, mainly carried by two players which we'll get into very soon, we're actually sitting at just under 400,000 in the world now. So we can basically disregard the whole defense this week. Actually, Henderson did do quite well with his 4-pointer, which I'm not too sad about with how bad he's been recently. But Porro, Gabriel and Gvardiol all blanking with Robertson on my bench with an assist. I still think it's a decent idea to play Pedro Porro because he did get a lot of shots. But obviously Robertson would have been the better idea. But now moving on to the midfield, and I'm a little bit disappointed with Morgan Gibbs-White, and maybe it wasn't the right pick. I went for him because he was a 90-minute man on penalties, but he did blank this week, and he does have Liverpool next week, or Game Week 4, which we'll get into, whether I'll play him or not. But I think he's an okay punt if I do go a little bit longer with my wild card, because he has got good fixtures coming up. If I wildcard in Game Week 6, maybe it was a bit of a mistake bringing him in. But if I can sort of push back that wildcard then to later in the season, then I think he will have been a good pick. But Eze has rewarded us patient managers. Yes, he blanked in the first two game weeks, but he did get a goal. And I believe all 3 bonus points in Game Week 3. So he came away with 10 points overall, which is absolutely massive. And then 2 blanks for Smith Rowe and Rodgers. Not amazing. Smith Rowe's numbers also aren't setting the world alight. Neither are Rodgers, but he is getting 90 minutes basically every game, and I think he will come good, hopefully this week. But the main man, Mohamed Salah, with 1 goal and 2 assists, a hat-trick of returns, and he comes away with 17 points. Always going to be getting those extra bonus points, the 3 extra bonus points, with that kind of output, and he's just looking absolutely amazing, really nailed on. And Liverpool are looking really good this season. And then another reward for the patient managers, Isak coming in with a goal. Yes, he did get an assist in Game Week 1, but he has now got a goal this week. And with 9 points, you've got to take that and be happy with your Isak rewards if you do have him in your team. But then the absolute main man, Haaland, with a hat-trick as my captain. 34 points in the end, absolutely skyrocketed my rank, and that's why we sat just under the top 400,000. But that's enough about Game Week 3, let's move on to my wildcard team going into Game Week 4. And if I was on a wildcard, this is the team that I would be using. First of all, a little bit on whether you should be using your wildcard this early on or trying to save it till later, I think is really team dependent. If you don't have that many players that you want to carry forward, such as Arsenal players, yes, you might not want them for the next 2, but you definitely want them going forwards. Or maybe Brian and Buemo, and you haven't got these really talismanic players that we're going to be wanting in our teams going forwards, then it definitely is an absolutely fine idea to just use your wildcard now, set yourself up for future game weeks, and just be rid of your maybe bad team with a few punts that maybe went wrong in Game Week 1. Put your ego aside and just use the wild card. But as you can see on screen here, this is the team that I would be going for, or a similar team as what I would be going for if I was on a wild card Game Week 4 to set myself up for future game weeks and also have a good squad this game week for Game Week 4. So I'm going to talk you through the main points in this team. And first of all, I think it's a really hard choice this week, or this week, yeah, in general for a wild card, whether to go with David Raya. He has been doing really well recently, and also I've been putting up some really good defensive numbers once again this season. However, if you didn't want to go for David Raya and Fabianski, because he could also play if Areola's still injured, but you could go for the 4.5 million rotation of Flecken and Verbergen. Verbergen's got some really good short-term fixtures, and Flecken's long-term fixtures look also really good. So that's a very fine play if you want to do that. And I'm just going to talk about the main players in the team overall. So I think the players that I wanted to be bringing in, if you don't have them already, especially in the defense, is Pedro Porro. He looks really attacking recently. Lots and lots of shots. Could hopefully have a big haul coming in soon. Yes, Spurs aren't the best defense, and they don't have amazing fixtures for the next couple of weeks, but going forwards, I would want Pedro Porro. And someone that I would want to bring in is Andy Robertson. That Liverpool defence just looks absolutely amazing. And I'd want a piece of that pie, but maybe Trent's a little bit too expensive. If you want to get the team that you can see underneath, I think Robbo is a great enabler for the team. Only 6 million compared to Trent's 7 million. And the cheap defenders, I think Mosquera for Wolves is getting really good minutes, or however you say his name, is getting really good minutes. And is a really just good 4 million enabler. But Leffy Davis, or however you pronounce his first name, Davis for Ipswich, is looking really, really attacking. 4.5 million, got an assist obviously last game week, or the game I believe against Man City. Oh no, that was Ben Johnson. He got an assist last game week, Davis did. And I think he's just a really, really good enabler for your team. And then moving on to the midfield, I think the midfield for me looks really, really strong, other than Smith Rowe, who I'd maybe let you have freedom with, change that to whoever you want to. They don't have the best fixtures going forwards. So in that region, if you want Semenyo, go for Semenyo. And then Rodgers, I think, is just still an amazing enabler. He's gone up in price since he was bought at the start, and he hasn't even returned yet. But the players I would definitely want is keeping Eze. I think he's going to be a really good shout going forwards, and has been good so far. And Mbeumo needs to come into our teams. You'd probably want to bench him this week against Man City, but going forward, you definitely want him. And then Salah, for me, is essential. He's obviously quite expensive, but the returns he's putting up at the moment, you cannot look past him. Probably the best replacement after that would be Luis Diaz. Obviously, if you have already got someone like Jota in your team, maybe don't transfer him over to Diaz. Just keep it as Jota, because they're probably fairly similar returns in the next couple of games, I would say, but Salah is looking really, really good. And then finally, that forward line. I think I would probably be happy getting rid of Isak. Maybe not a perfect week. I think he could do really well against Wolves. But keeping Haaland, obviously, he's scored 2 hat-tricks in 2 games. I don't think you can go without Haaland right now. Maybe there's some conversation in the future to go without him, but for me, he's in my team. João Pedro looks like a really, really good enabler. He played for Brazil, got some minutes in the legs. Hopefully he'll be okay for this week. Maybe keep an eye on that. But he'll be a really good enabler for us. You can maybe go for Welbeck if you'd like to, but I think João Pedro is probably the safer option going forwards. And then we've got Kai Havertz. I think he's going to be in most people's teams, as long as, we'll see on the weekend, but if Ødegaard is injured and obviously Rice was suspended, Havertz might drop back a little bit, so it may not be perfect for game week 4, but going forwards, Havertz looks amazing. And with Arsenal's fixtures, if you can't quite get Saka in, then you need Havertz, in my opinion. But that is it for the wildcard team. Let me know down in the comments if you'd change any of those players, and if you're on the wildcard right now, let me know what your team's looking like. Now for the final segment of the video, let's move on to my team going into game week 4, and also the dilemmas that I'm thinking about. So I have run my team through the Fantasy Football Hub app just to optimize it and see what the stats are saying. So that's what you can see on screen here. So let's talk through this team. And if you do want to get your team onto the Fantasy Football Hub app, then download it through the link in my description. But I think I really do have a few benching headaches, to be honest, looking at this team right now. Morgan Gibbs-White, Adam Armstrong, and also Pedro Porro are the 3 that I don't know out of those 3 who to actually bench. Because if you look at the stats here, so Morgan Gibbs-White obviously plays Liverpool and he's predicted 4.1 points. Armstrong plays Man United, he's predicted 3.8. And then Pedro Porro only predicted 3.2 against Arsenal, because they're obviously predicted to score and probably are very solid defensively, so Porro won't be able to push forward too much. And I think I'm okay benching Porro this week because Van de Ven looks injured. I think he's going to have to play a less attacking role in that North London derby. Yes, that could come to bite me on the bum and he could score a wonder goal. But this week I'm happy to bench Porro and then playing going forwards. I'm also happy to bench Adam Armstrong, and because Morgan Gibbs-White does have penalties, yes, Liverpool have been one of, if not the best defence so far in the league. I feel like there is just always the chance that you could get a penalty return from someone like Morgan Gibbs-White. But this is the team going into game week 4. I'm not amazingly happy with the defence, but obviously Gabriel with the fairly hard fixture, I'd normally be okay playing Gabriel, and Arsenal are a very good defence. but that fixture isn't perfect. Gvardiol looks really good and I'm happy with him in my team right now. And then Robertson has been getting some maybe fluky assists, so hopefully he can carry that on into the next game against West Ham. And then we've got Mo Salah, very happy with him, 8.3 predicted points. He is not going to be my captain for this week though, because I think the Brentford fixture is just something I cannot pass up for Haaland. Can he make it a hat-trick of hat-tricks? And then we've got Eberechi Eze as 7.2 predicted points. Actually the third highest predicted points this game week. So very happy with him in the team. Hopefully Rodgers can return for us this week against Everton. Then Smith Rowe against West Ham. Very happy with that. Obviously Smith Rowe doesn't have the best numbers, but he's only 5.5 million or 5.6 now. So if he can get a return, that would be amazing. And then finally, obviously we've talked about Gibbs White, but Isak with 6.2 predicted points. I feel like Wolves are better fixture than some people are giving them credit for. But away from home, Newcastle aren't amazing and they haven't been amazing so far this season. So Isak could be on the sell list soon, but this week I'm very happy with him in that team. So this is my team going into FPL Gameweek 4. And if you do have any transfer dilemmas in your own team, please do put it in the YouTube comments, because I will be reading every single one of those and replying back to everyone. So if you have any burning questions before that deadline, then make sure you drop it down there. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you did like this video today, and I'd really appreciate any likes or comments on the video. And good luck for FPL Game Week 4.